Oh, hello. It's Scott. And, well, Cynthia is, well, she's working upstairs. And, well, you can probably see her right up there in the windows. As you can tell, this is not Alaska. This is Texas. And I thought, with the sun being out, this is a really good time to show you the solar system that we'll be doing in Alaska. And you know how you can tell this is not Alaska? I'm wearing shorts.
Our American adventure, Alaska.
That's for me. So we're going to start here, where the sun actually generates the power that we'll consume. And do keep in mind, this is a temporary setup. This was a proof of concept testing to make sure everything was working just the way it's supposed to in Alaska. Because we've got to pack all this up and take it with us. Let's take a look at what we got. We have 16 460 watt blue sun panels. These are bifacial panels capable of making something like 575 watts, but probably will never make more than 500 because reality. And it's on a very temporary, just kind of a wooden structure. Now the way these are done, I've got 8 panels over here and 8 panels over here, and each one they're all looped in series. And with series, you are adding your voltage and you're keeping the amperage exactly the same. Now the reason for that is, well, multi-pronged approach. Number one, I don't have to use thick wire in order to bring that power back into the house. I can use 8 gauge, which is what I'm using here. And the voltage being really, really high, it won't lose but about 2% of that, which equates to nothing. If it had been all in parallel, then, well, I would have lost quite a bit. And I would have had to use probably 1 gauge or maybe even 1/0 just to get the amperage back there with all this power. Now there's a lot to it, but it's actually not that hard. Now, if you're wondering, there is Rex. Rex is, well, he's our wonder dog. He's a giant horse. He's huge. Rex, come say hi. Come say hi. Come say hi to the camera? No? And then back over there is Oakley. That's the grand dog. And we'll have some stories to tell about that in the near future, maybe a future video. But for now, let's go back to the solar. So we have 2 sets of 8 solar panels, which equal out to something about 400 volts total. But in reality, you're going to see about 320 to 300, and I think 360 is as high as I've ever seen. That was a really cold day. We have a shading issue here because if you look, this is south, right over this way. And, well, this is not south. That's the east. And we have trees. And the trees, well, they block the sun. And then if we go west, we have trees. And, well, they block the sun. So by having them in 2 groups, this set of 4 or 8 panels actually will get the sun first in the morning. Once it clears these trees back up over here, it just kind of comes across this way. So we get a full set of panels working. And then this one comes in right about midday. About 11 o'clock, it starts to produce full power. And then as the time of day goes by, this one will actually get into shade, and then that full one. So we have 2 completely different channels, and they work pretty good. They feed with 2 separate inputs into our inverter, charger, charge controller, let's go inside and take a look at that. All right, we're inside. We've got the air conditioners going. The fans are twirling. I'm wearing shorts. It's a win-win. This is the inverter. This is the EG4 6000 XP. And just so you know, I've been purchasing all my stuff through Signature Solar. They've been really good, very, very easy to deal with, great pricing, great stock. And yeah, I've been buying through them for about 3 years now, no problems. I'll put some affiliate links down below. Should you be interested, you can purchase any of this stuff through them. Now, 6000 XP is an inverter. It is a 220 volt, 240 volt, single phase, but has the 2 legs of 120 volts, 6,000 watts total. So 3,000 on one leg, 3,000 on another leg. Again, all this is temporary, just showing that it works. I wanted to run it for a few months to make sure that everything's fine. I've actually been running it for about 2 years now. 6000 XP is relatively new. I had a 3,000 watt inverter before. I'm just keeping that as a backup. This will take 2 MPPT tracking solar inputs of up to about 5,000 watts each. I think it's 4,500, somewhere around there, that it can do in. And those are coming in here. These are our isolators for the solar. So that's well, this is the first one. This is the first one that hits the sun. This is the last one to hit the sun. So you can turn off individual circuits, if you will, of the solar. So we can block that out completely. That feeds into here, goes into, this is our isolator here for the entire solar. And then in here, you can go out with the 2 120 volt legs. That comes out through this. This is 6.3, it's 50 amps, about enough. Going into a breaker box, which doesn't have a panel on it, so don't touch that, that's hot. But in there, you can see, we feed it in to a double pole, that's a double pole 30, and that feeds the 2 legs there, and I just have 2 circuits on it. One of them feeds this room in here, the other feeds all of my storage and my media and my servers and such. I'm an IT guy with, I'm an IT background, heavy video guy, is what I do. That is configured just like a normal electrical panel would be at your house. It's just, instead of coming from the pole, it's coming in from here. And instead of coming in through the top, we're just back feeding through a breaker, which is totally fine. Then we have batteries, and I'll show those in just a second. They come out with this gauge right here. This is 1 aught, and that goes to a battery bank. So we have 6,000 watts here. We have about 7,500 watts out there on solar coming in. So we can actually charge these batteries in less than a day. And that's a good ratio to have, especially in Alaska. And I might, well, without question, I will expand my batteries and I will then expand my solar. It's just how much I expand my solar, we'll see. All of this is relatively inexpensive. You're talking less than $10,000 for all of this. And I run a lot of stuff. Let's go in and look at the batteries. So in here, we have 4 of the EG4 Life Power 4 batteries. Now, these are V2s here, and this is a V1 down here. Ultimately, there's not a whole lot of difference other than the communications port, or the communications methodology that they use. It's no big deal. But they all communicate in series with communication cables up to the inverter, and I'll show you how I monitor all that system. Each one of these is 5,120 watts, well, watt hours, and so it's about 20,000 watts of battery. And these are 48 volt batteries, and they all tie into, they all come directly into these giant bus bars on the side. Up top here, this is an EG4 charge inverter. That is what we will use for doing a generator. So when battery is getting low and the sun is nowhere to be seen, then, well, sadly, we have to run a generator. So we will plug in. Right there. Right now it's a 110 volt, but it can handle 220 volt. And it can do 100 amps of charging. So that's considerable. It's about 5,000 watts. So it can charge this right here in about 4 hours, ideally. It won't. It'll charge, be something probably in 6 hours to completely fill it up with a generator. But it runs by basically sensing the load here, or sensing the voltage, and when it drops below a certain point, it will literally trigger the generator to auto start and charge back up. Right now, it is not plugged in because the EG4 charge inverter, for whatever reason, doesn't actually turn itself off. It will go into a strange mode whereby it, if it sees voltage coming in, it will use that to basically fill what's going out. It's a little annoying. So that means I can't leave it plugged into like an outlet if I was on the grid. I can't leave it plugged in all the time because they would just never use the batteries. It would just use that. And that's not what I want. It does, however, with the generator, it will send the signal to turn off the generator. Thus, there's no voltage. It just doesn't consume anymore. It's a weird thing. I wish they'd fix that, but yeah. When we're in Alaska, we will be adding 2 more. Well, before we get there, we'll be taking them with us. We're going to add 2 more batteries. We might add 4 more batteries. Just depends. I like to have backups to backups to backups. I like to have excess. I like to be prepared for anything. And it is surprising what this can run. This runs right now. I've got a window unit air conditioner up there, which are the absolute worst for any kind of solar. I run my entire editing suite here, my 3D printer, everything that's in here, plus all of my servers in there and a bunch of other stuff. That all runs, and my Starlink and all of that all runs from here and has been running from here for a long time. And I can go about 3 days. Depending on the air conditioner usage. If it's 100 degrees outside, it's more like about 2 days. But chances are it's not 100 degrees without sun, so it kind of works out. We won't have an air conditioner there, so when you add in the other stuff that it'll be running, which is not a whole lot there, we will be able to go probably 2+ days of normal usage with the 6 batteries. And with the 8 batteries, maybe all the way to 3 days. So here we are. This is my editing suite. This is where I do all my professional video editing. That's my day job. And you can see there's quite a bit of screens. I don't have them on right at the moment. Don't need them on because you'll just be looking at that instead of me. Eyes up here. Eyes up here. So I use Solar Assistant on my iPad and anywhere with a web page. It runs on a Raspberry Pi, which there's a Raspberry Pi right there, just in a cute little pink box that I 3D printed. And I use this for all of my monitoring and for my logging of data so I can see how things perform over time. This feeds actually into Home Assistant. Home Assistant is a bigger brother kind of thing for automations and such. And I'll get into that in a future video as to why we do that. But we may be off the grid, but we ain't using none of them old-fashioned light switch thingies. By golly, we can use our phone to turn on lights. Well, again, we'll get into that later. So it has great abilities. It's got a dashboard that we can see. We can see all the configuration settings of it. We can see how the solar is performing over time. You can drill into that data and see how it's doing over time. You can see exactly how much power. You can see exactly when the clouds came out and how much we were using. It's really nice. It's got charts, So we can see this over the last 24 hours. We can see it over the last 7 days. We can see quite a bit going on there. We also then have all of our totals from using it over the last, well, years. I think it only goes back a year though, but we can see our daily usage, our daily consumption, all of that good stuff. Even the last 52 weeks there, and then the 12 months. It's pretty good for that kind of stuff. We like this. But there's also, so the EG4 actually has really good monitoring built in. It just goes up to the web, which is not a lot of people like that. I don't particularly care for it, but it is what it is. And we can see exactly, like right now, how much wattage is being used. 991 watts going in for the air conditioning, and 173 right now just on the server stuff. There's all 4 batteries, so we can see their full state of charge, and they're literally at 100% because there's 0 current going in. So solar right now is 100% providing all the power for all of the current AC usage. It's just it's a really good system. I've gotten really good. I've been playing with solar for 20 plus years, and I really love where we are today because you can get an affordable system really, really cheap. That's pretty powerful. Feel free to ask questions down in the comments below because I love answering that kind of stuff, and why I chose what I chose over something else. If you feel so inclined as to berate my wiring or this is not the code, blah, 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 put it in the comments. We'll go ahead and talk about it. It's fine. I know it's temporary. It's literally proof of concept. It's safe. It's just not to code on installation with the wiring, blah, blah, blah. It's safe. Don't worry about it. But feel free to ask questions down below on there. We will probably upgrade that XP6000 to one of their PV models, probably the PV12 or 18, just because we're going to have this power our shop as well when we get to that stage. So it would just make sense to kind of get it all here and just go up with it. But yeah, as always, we really enjoy y'all coming out and kind of joining us and talking. I know Cynthia's not on here a lot lately, but she's here. She's just working at the moment when I'm making all these videos, and then we had the Alaska videos, and next we basically are taking everything out of here and putting it in storage and getting this place ready to list. We already spoke to an agent, so we're ready to go. We just gotta snap you some pictures and sell it, all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, y'all have a wonderful week, and thanks for joining us. And remember,